It took me many, many years to see the whole big picture. The number of photographs left, on number only about 150. That's excluding all the ones in the albums, which I call more like postcards. Talking about enlargements, so it's about 150 enlargements, and the rest were negatives. And most of them were not printed. And these were portraits taken in the probably 1968 of my grandfather when he was at Agong in all the uniforms. It will take ages to click a shot. You hold the camera, about a few minutes before you actually click from the simplest portrait to a landscape. It would take a long time before he steadies himself, finds himself at the spot, and actually shoots, you know. He basically shot where he was at that time. But if he was to go out on a normal morning, he'd go to Kuala Ibai, Rusila, Cenering, and Kampung Tenggala, Pasar Tepoh. He kept choosing basically the same places. There's something that he likes about the place, he just keeps shooting it and trying to better it. But he loves to shoot people, his people. Storeroom at the back, part dark room, not as well organized as it was some years ago, but it does hold a lot of important stuff, especially they all came from my grandfather's dark room. Enlargers. This is probably from the early 1950s, the Omega. And larger. Oh, that's a frame. That's a vase. And it shouldn't be here, but it's here. And it's a Lides. All right, Wetzlar. I think this was acquired in the mid-60s. Stacks of old photographs and films, old radios, films, prints again. They're stacked between glasses, you know, pieces of heavy glass. So I'm very wary of taking them out. News albums, more negatives. Albums. These portraits of him, of my grandfather, his daughter. So studio portraits. Okay, he didn't shoot much in the late 70s or mid 70s, and all he did was to print. He probably thought was it's a playful shot or an experimental shot, which nobody would want to see anyway. It was just for him and the thrill of just capturing something he thought was very interesting. But now, yeah, he looks very, very much what the European photographers were doing in the modernist era of the 20s and 30s, which is, of course, the period that he started photographing. In 1948 to 52, he was very keen on coloring, hand coloring his photos. Not everything, but portraits of the consort or his children. He was technically proficient in this because there were no traces of paint. So people could easily say it's a color photograph. Foam has disintegrated and the dust and debris from it has gone into the slides. Clean it, clean the slide glass, put them back in, and then only start scanning. Trips to Iran, South Korea, Bombay, Geneva, and Germany. That's when I followed him. You can see some of the photographs of Bombay with me tagging along. Then he comes to probably what people say is the most powerful photographs he ever shot, which was the May 1969 streets of KL. We were actually in Kuala Trengganu in the morning. And when we got to Kuala Lumpur on the 5 o'clock, apparently, that was when the things were happening. The next day, after he signed the captures, he went out to document it. I think he insisted. I don't think anybody encouraged him to go out. And he just went to shoot the photographs. He didn't say much to my grandmother, and he didn't say much to anybody in the town, apparently. Negatives and prints. One of his many professional handbooks. This is the setting up of lights in studios or something like that. Oh, that's in Jawi. Set the Jawi translation. Malay Jawi, of course. A lot of historians placed him in the 1950s. But in the 1950s, he was the leader of the Salon photography. He was the father figure. And everybody invited him to become the patron of the Photographic Society of Malaysia, or Malaya, and then Malaysia, because of his previous reputation, of his, they know about him. Was very secretive about it. The only thing he said about photography to me was not to take it up because it's a very expensive hobby at that time. But he would not say anything. That's why nobody knows what he's actually thinking. I have not met anybody who knows actually what he was thinking. What he was actually physically doing, yes. But what was inside him? Documented history, he documented the social life, he documented the family, he documented the way people dressed then, sat, ate, stood. I don't know whether he realized what he was doing. Whether he wanted to keep it for historical documents for the future or just for self-gratification. It just made him happy to just shoot and be able to print them and look at them on a different day. I don't know.